Hey guys, this episode of The Honeydew is brought to you by Away and MyBookie.com. Also want to let you guys know that I am performing, if you're in LA, at the Ice House at Pasadena this Saturday at 10 p.m. I'm going to bring Steve Simone with me, and Joey Diaz is going to do a drop-in set. So if you live in LA, looking for something to do this Labor Day weekend out there on a Saturday night, go to RyanSickler.com, get tickets for the show. More on all that later. Now let's get to the do.
You're watching The Honeydew with Ryan Sickler at your mom's house.
Welcome back to The Honeydew, y'all. We're over here at Studio Jeans doing it at your mom's house. I am Ryan Sickler. Ryan Sickler on all social media, RyanSickler.com. Baltimore, September 14th at the Famous. Get your tickets now. It might be sold out by now. I'm not sure. We pre-record, so get them if it's not. And as I say every week, thank you. Thank you to everybody. Thank you for the messages. Thank you for the comments, the follows, the likes, the subscriptions. You're making a difference, and I really appreciate it. I know you love the show. I love bringing it to you every week. And for those of you who are new here, this is The Honeydew. HoneyDewPodcast.com is the website. You can go there, follow me on social media there, emails, merch, anything and everything you need about The Honeydew is on the HoneyDewPodcast.com. And the best way to help this show is to engage with our sponsors, so please do that. And as I say every week, what we do here is we find the light in the darkness. We highlight the lowlights. And these are the stories behind the storytellers. And today, for the first time here on The Honeydew, it is my pleasure to introduce two guests. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to The Honeydew, the Sklar Brothers, Jason and Randy Sklar. Welcome, gentlemen.
I feel like we live in The Honeydew.
You guys are true honeydews. I couldn't wait to get here.
We are. Thanks, man. Thanks for having us.
What a great idea for a podcast. Of course, it's
love
perfect
this
for you. It's a great idea.
You guys are the best. Before we get into your honeydew moments, will you please promote, plug everything and anything you would like?
Well, check out our podcast. We do Dumb People Town with Daniel Van Kirk, has he done this? I'm sure he's done this.
He did it before we had video.
Okay.
He did.
So he's great, and the three of us it's like this week in dumb news. This is what happened. We believe the world's getting dumber. How do we defeat it
through
comedy. So we do that show, which you've done. You were great. You were our second episode ever.
I appreciate that.
Cheese in the CVS.
The running bit of like someone asking an employee at the CVS where the cheese is, and the guy saying what it's next to.
Yeah.
I could do that for 10 hours.
Oh, God.
Where's cheese, man? It's back by the mops and the batteries. Where's the cheese?
The dairy section's right next to automotive, right there by the Armor All, and right over there by the crutch tips.
It's right by the cotton balls and the razors. Come on now, it's cheese. Where do you think it is?
That should be a podcast.
It's just where the cheese is. It's by the caulk guns and the toilet.
Where do you think it is? It's by the foot powder and the greeting cards. It's cheese, damn it.
Laughed the whole time. So stupid.
The tough acting, 10 acting,
and the kitty litter. It's right there.
And the chocolate coins. It's right there. I don't know why you can't see it.
It's cheese, damn it. It's
if
by
you hit the diabetes socks, you went too far. Oh, God.
Diabetes socks and sunscreen. It's over there, man.
It's in the self-help section.
Why can't you find it? Why can't you find
the
it?
Sliced cheese. First of all, if you're going to CVS for a sliced cheese, you deserve all of this.
It's the Pepto-Bismol and the beach towels. How do you not?
Beach towels. It's down there by the sand chairs. You see it? Yeah. The seasonal shit. It's over by the seasonal shit. It's in the as seen on TV aisle.
That's right. It's by the makeup and the
makeup. They have everything.
The makeup and the water shoes. You see it? It's right over there.
The water.
Oh my God. All right. So check him out on our podcast. We have another podcast called View from the Cheap Seats Sports. and comedy and indie rock, and that's fun.
Just had Mary Carrillo on. She was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Talking about tennis and
That was great.
incredible.
That was great. And then we're live shows. We have a couple big live shows in September.
So we do Dumb People Town live. We do it at Largo every 2 months, and we usually have a huge musical guest, big time guest, to come in and do it. And so that Largo show's on September 9th, Largo, Los Angeles.
Do you know your guest yet? Are you allowed to say?
Not yet. We don't know yet, but we're out to a couple. And the last one we had Patton Oswalt and Lauren Lapkus.
Yeah.
We had John Hamm and Karen Kilgariff. We had John C. Riley
and Tim Heidecker, and then we had
Wow.
Zach Galifianakis and Will Forte. And like Amy Mann was one of the
It's a
musical
really fun
guests.
show, yeah.
Langhorne Slim. It was great. So that's on September 9th in LA at like 8:30. Then we're going to be doing a huge show at Tinley Park, the convention center in Chicago, South Chicago.
1,000 seats.
Yep, we got to fill it. I'm expecting.
We're counting on you.
Fill it up.
Bring some CVS cheese if you're there. Just a couple
You're
of
Next to the Ace
I bet we're gonna get
bandages.
it. I'm gonna get that and some gauze pads
And the LaCroix.
And the jumper cake.
one jumper cable, only the red one. So we be there on the 27th of September. That's a Friday night, and then Saturday night we're gonna be in Ann Arbor doing shows. And we just talked to. We were just hanging with him at the Montreal Comedy Festival, and he was amazing. We were
Blake
just hanging with
Griffin.
Blake Griffin.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to get him to come on the
He
show.
may come and do like
yeah.
a guest set of comedy, which would just be
Yeah. If
you wanna
amazing
see
on
that,
that
come
on
see
that
that.
show. But we're going with Nate Craig, so you'd love
I
that
love
dude.
Nate.
So that's on the 28th. We got 2 shows there. So all that stuff's out there. Supersklars.com. You can check it all out. But listen to the podcast, and hopefully you'll enjoy that.
So, as I said, what we do here is highlight the lowlights. And you guys came in with excitement about the lowlights that you've had in your life. So, I'm going to let you steer this ship. You want to start with last night first?
Well, before he starts last
Yes.
night, let me tell you why I love this. Because as comics, as people, bad things happen to us. That's just the nature of it. We're all hustling. It hits us in certain ways. And you feel that, and you whatever it is, like you sweat, you cry, you're upset, you get really upset at yourself, you get upset at other people. But then comics start to process what happened and turn it over and
Say
mull
what's
it over.
funny about it.
You explain the story to someone, and maybe you're mad, and they're laughing, and you're like, there's actually a bit in
There's a
here.
bit here.
Let's figure this out. And suddenly there is the light that comes out of the darkness. That's exactly what you're talking about. And that happens every time something shitty happens to you.
Last night. So I knew I was coming on the show today. I didn't do this to make this happen, but I'm at my son's basketball practice.
How old's your son?
He's 10 and a half.
Okay.
We're talking
not a game.
practice.
We
Not a
talking
game.
about
Practice?
Not a game.
We're talking about practice. All right.
Not a game. Not a game. Not a game.
I mean, we're talking about practice.
Talking about practice.
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 We talking about practice.
We talking about
We talking about a game?
Not a
we're talking
game.
about- not a game.
Not
We're
a
talking
game.
about practice.
Not a
Right.
game where I give my life.
I'm putting it on the line. All right.
Is
so
it a scrimmage?
No. What are you talking about?
practice.
Practice. All right. So I'm there, and let me just tell you, I've been away for 5 days in the Montreal Comedy Festival. It is my time to take over with the kids. And I'm at this practice with my daughter, who's 5.5, my son, who's 10.5, who's in the practice. My daughter does not want to be at this practice at all. So it is all about maintaining her attention so that I can also sort of watch what's going on, because I like to be at practice. Right. So she's outside on the playground forever. I'm like, we got to go inside. We got to go inside. I want to see some of the practice. So I bring her inside. She's like, put me on your shoulders so I could throw a basketball into the 8-foot hoop. Great. I do it for a little bit. Then she's like, can you jump up and touch the hoop? And I was like, yes, I can jump up and touch the hoop. She's like, I want to see you
Is
jump
that
up.
a challenge?
Like, are you laying it down?
All right,
I'll lay it down. So I jump up and I touch the red thing, and she's like, or the orange rim. And she's like, can you hang on it? And I'm like, she just bumped it up. And I'm like, if this keeps her attention, yes. Can you throw a basketball on it? And I was like, yes, I can dunk on an 8-foot basketball. I've dunked it. We've dunked on 8-foot baskets. I've done it. We're 5'7.5", whatever we are. We're probably about the same as you.
I'm 5'10".
We're about 5'7",
Don't
same as
bump
you.
him
70
down.
inches.
Don't
We're
bump
like
him down.
5'4", same as you. So maybe we're 5'8". You are taller than us. So I take this little ball, kind of ball that even I can palm, and I'm like, I'm gonna dunk this basketball, not thinking like I haven't slept a lot in the last 5 or 6 days.
yeah.
I'm not.
You're
I'm
thinking
40
whether you're going to windmill it or go through the legs.
Yeah, I'm like, do I go through the legs?
Right.
Do I reverse? And I'm like, we're 47. We're on our way to 48. And the point of this story, which I will get to in a second, after I go up, I take a running start. I go up from the side, which I don't know feels taller to me, and I slam the ball down, and I go to hold on to the rim.
Like and one mixtape.
Because I want to point at some kids and be like,
pull your legs up and show them your
you'll
nuts.
never do, right?
Yeah.
Get it?
That's my godson. That's my godson.
Right. I hear
That's
the
where our kids came from.
I hear the guy from the and one mixtape.
baby.
And I'm
Jason, you know that guy, half man, half amazing?
Of course.
Jason,
I'm half man, half annoying. All right, so I get up.
And the professor's over there somewhere dribbling around
I'm the
other
adjunct
fucking-
professor. All right, I
Jay's
can't
like
get full tenure.
Jay's the teacher's assistant.
The TA.
TA.
I'm the TA.
He's gonna run a discussion group about this.
So the ball goes in, the little ball. I did dunk it, but I go to grab onto the rim, and I literally like swing straight. My legs come up. I'm now horizontal to the ground.
No.
And I drop straight down, flat, 8 feet, straight down, or 7.5
Straight on
feet,
your spine.
flat on my back. My left hand goes down to stop me, and immediately I'm like, I broke my wrist and I broke my back. I'm like, that's it. And my daughter's
Holy
standing right
shit.
there,
How many
embarrassed.
people are in that
There's
gym?
8 other parents who I know and love, and they're like, oh my God, I see the
He's
look on-
paralyzed.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm like, the next season is going to be a fundraiser for me. Like, exactly. Like, I'm going to be in Murder Ball now.
Wheeling you in so
Like,
you can watch. and shit.
I swear to God.
This is like ice castles.
I'm thinking about the ramps they have to put at my house now. Like,
the ramps. He's
like,
already on the ramps.
like,
We're not moving.
I'm laying there for a second, and I mean, the sound it made on the floor like shocked me. Like the practice stopped. Everyone looked at me, and I get up, and I'm like, I'm okay. And I go to sit down, and I'm talking to my daughter.
And you're like, I'm not okay.
I'm not okay. And all night, I'm like, I broke my back, and I have to hold it together because I
Are
don't
you
want.
concussed at all? Are you
I'm not
dizzy?
concussed. My head didn't hit the floor. I'm not dizzy, but I'm literally like, I feel like a separation has happened between my lower back and my upper back. Anytime I make any movement, there's a shooting pain. That still, like right now, I'm on some painkillers, but like it was so intense, and I have to have it go looked at. And I was so embarrassed that I sat far away from all the other parents. Like I was sweating from the embarrassment.
Oh,
of it.
yeah.
Because I'm like, how do I face these people?
Right.
When they watch me do this thing, and now I'm acting like I'm okay. I said I'm okay, and then I walk in the most crooked way over to them to hang out afterwards, and I don't bring it up. Like I'm sitting there, and I'm like, who we playing on Saturday?
Yeah, exactly.
Who we playing on Saturday should not have been the first thing that
it
came
should
out
have
of my
been
mouth.
like, how am
Help me get out of here.
What happened to my L7?
Someone drive me.
Who can drive my children home while I lay at the rec center for the next 10 days? It was the most embarrassing thing that's happened to me recently. And I just didn't say anything about it. And I know they all were like, what the hell are you doing?
What
Also,
are you doing? What are you doing?
What am I doing?
Right.
It's my son's basketball practice. I have no business. And then
It's the ego.
In
It's
the
your
car.
fucking ego.
So
was
my
like, I
son,
can dunk this
it's
ball.
my ego. And my son was like, what happened? And here's how I presented it to my son in front of my daughter. I'm like, she challenged me.
You start the sentence with she.
They put it on a 5-year-old. She challenged me. She wouldn't leave it alone. I tried to pleasantly get out of it, and she's like, "You gonna do this?"
She
And I'm
egged
like,
me on. She egged me on.
She made it him. I basically said to my son, she made it impossible for me not to do it.
She checkmated me into doing it.
And now I'm like, and now I'm literally like, I may never play basketball again, because that's what aging is. Okay. Aging is just a series of moments in your life where you're like, I can't do that anymore.
Yeah, that's done. My dunking on 8-foot
That's
rim.
done.
days
Done.
are done.
Check that off the list.
Can't do that anymore. I was snowboarding this past year and fell like a bunch of times. And I was like, well, that's done. I can't do that anymore. And then I realized that my boot was coming out of my thing, and then I fixed it and I was fine. But like, it's just, I can't do that. Can't do that.
Yep. Off the
Can't
list.
drink 5 drinks and then wake up at 6 in the morning and be a person again. Can't do that anymore. You can't do anything. thing.
That is the aging is the realization of the great shit you used to be able to do that you can no longer do.
Aging is just a crossing off the list of fun things that you used to do.
Talking yourself out of why I shouldn't do that right now.
I mean,
And I think that was part of why I decided to do it.
like we got to turn back. I mean, we're in a young business,
Right? This business keeps us young. We get to wear whatever we want to the job. We get
laugh at everything.
to laugh at everything.
Be stupid.
creative,
foolish,
silly, be who we
creative.
are, be the most true version of ourselves. That's what being young is. When you're young, you don't even think about it. You're just you. And then as you get older, you start to like, I can't do that. I shouldn't do that. But in comedy, you get to do all that. So you just think you can do that in the rest of your life with your physical. Can't do it.
No.
Do not do it.
Don't do it.
That's what
So
happened. That's my first funny.
God.
That's just to get into it.
That's just the start.
The
That's
ramp
how
up to get
we're
here.
Yeah,
to get here.
literally the ramp. We wheeled you up.
The ramp you were thinking about.
I love
the
that you
ramp
were
up.
right away. How am I gonna put these ramps in my? I'm gonna have to widen every fucking hallway.
We're gonna need a wider shower. I think came in my mind.
I'm gonna need a seat in my shower.
A seat.
It's terrible.
What? That's when you know you're really getting old. Like, I just gotta sit down in the shower,
The
man.
shower's.
I was talking.
I need to rest in the
Showers
shower.
are too
The shower's 8
intense.
minutes. I gotta rest.
Dude, this
You know
reminds
where you
me.
could get a shower seat though?
Where?
CVS.
CVS, right next
back
to
by
the cheese.
That's right.
By the cheese and the bungee cords, right over there. How are you not seeing it?
Cheese in the empty boxes. No, so that's so funny. The 8-minute shower, you need a seat. That reminds me, we were just up with Brian Kiley. You know Brian Kiley, great writer on Conan, great stand-up, just a really funny guy. He made the observation that this made me laugh so hard about. He's like, I love the comics who come on Conan to do their 4-minute set on Conan, and they have a bottle of water on a stool out there. Like, really? The 4 minutes that you're out there, you have to be hydrated.
You gotta hydrate that
You gotta
time.
hydrate. Just he can't do his set unless he still has a
some
sip of
water.
water in the middle of that whole
So
thing.
funny and
To
so
me,
true.
that was hilarious.
100%. 100%.
So we have a list of stories here. I'm going to let you guys choose however you'd like. I did ask you a question before we started. I asked, as being twins, I'm a twin also. I asked if there was ever a time, because this happened to me, where my brother made the all-star baseball team. I did not. And I had, because I was a kid, my dad's like, well, you're fucking coming every game. So I had to go and sit and watch kids. I was definitely better than play on this team. And because they felt sorry for me, they threw me a fucking, a T-shirt that the team wore. Like I'm the mascot.
Yeah.
on
So
the
you got to wear
fucking
that in
side.
the stands.
So I'm wearing that in the stands and on the
God.
sideline.
Did they not take you because they were like, we can't have 2 sicklers? It takes away too many spots from other non-sicklers?
Maybe. I honestly don't remember. I just know I didn't make it and he did. But after that, I never fucking missed another one. I was like, fuck that shit. I'm not.
See, that made you better.
Feeling.
That made you
it
better.
Made me better.
It made
did.
you care. Maybe you didn't care enough, and this is the thing that. Made
I mean,
you
I
care
think
more.
when we were younger, we both, like, I was identified as gifted. And so I did some gifted stuff, and he was not.
He was talented.
He was talented.
Gifted and
not-
talented.
Yeah. And he was not. And so I would do these, like, and that was a point of, I think.
So you were in
initiative.
different classes?
We were our regular classes, but then there was a gifted program where you would go to a place in the school that I don't even know we had this place in the school, and they would just do other stuff with you, which was fine, and I was happy to do it. But I did feel bad. I was like, how would I be identified as gifted? What a cruel thing to
Yeah.
do. You couldn't have been that far off.
Our parents did a great job of managing that. Like I did this other thing, like a reading series, like a great book series or something like that. But they just made it so it's not that big of a deal.
But I think it made you work harder in school.
Maybe.
He ended up doing better than me in school. Until
really?
the end. I think so. Because
And what
maybe
age
so.
grade? What are we talking about?
We're talking
High
like
school,
second
middle school?
grade.
no,
Okay,
second
elementary
grade, third
school,
grade. So
okay.
young, not young enough to be able to process that
Right.
fully.
But young and old enough to ruin your fucking ego and
Yeah, a little
everything
bit.
else. Yeah.
I gotta say, our parents managed it really well.
they did handle
They
that.
could have.
It
That could have been a
really
bad thing. It could have been like your dad being like, "Come on, we'll go watch your brother do
Yeah.
gifted shit."
And put on the shirt. Did he say put on the shirt when they threw
No.
it to you? No, he let you know.
He let you know.
They felt bad for him.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
just made
Of
me wear it.
course. Oh man, that's crazy.
Crazy.
So let's tell the story about how we were. We did this thing in a movie. We just saw Anthony Anderson, who was in the movie with us. We did this movie called My Baby's Daddy.
This is like the first or the second movie we'd ever done where we had like scenes. Like we didn't understand like what certain people's coverage in scenes were. Like when the camera's behind us and you're on, and it's on Anthony Anderson and not on us, we would just like stand in his shot, like block his shot over and over again.
What are you guys doing?
I mean, the director would be like, "You can't. This is not for you. Like, you almost don't have to talk or be here, but we want to get a corner of your shoulder. So get out." And we would just walk in.
So
and
we
miss our
learned.
marks.
We learned a lot. We learned a lot, but it was fun. We played. It was a long time ago. When was it? What year was it?
2002,
2 or something like that. So we played back
2003.
2003. We were white rappers. Okay, a white rapping duo called the Brothers Styles. and our hit in the movie that we performed on stage in the movie to playback that we wrote with these dudes, like real rappers, real like
Rap producers
and rappers, wrote it with them right by the Capitol building right here. And like one night, late night, we wrote it with them. They got us so high. I mean, it was unreal how high they got us. And like we wrote the thing.
Wrote a rap song.
We were called. We were
Double Barrel?
Double Barrel, because we were hot and black on the inside.
That was the
Double Barrel.
Double Barrel.
So the Brothers Styles.
Like ridiculous.
Nah. So like it was a great experience and really fun and just weird, and we had to record it. So we wrote it, then we went down and recorded it in a studio where other rap shit was recorded.
Then we sang it in, or we lip synced it in the
Lip-synced
movie.
what we had recorded in the movie.
And this is how much we didn't understand about rap culture. Like, we were trying to do just on stage, and I was going like this with my hand like this, pulling it back, and someone had to sit me down,
Say no.
from black culture, and be like, "It's this. You're going down. It's not this. I
This
was like,
makes you look like an idiot.
This is right.
Yeah.
Because you're saying it right here, and I'm like, it's not this, and they're like, it's this, and I'm like, all right.
By the way,
Yeah.
and that's the line of demarcation between any white person and a black person who's cool. White people are this.
doing this.
Black people are doing this. And this is right and this is wrong. That's what we learned.
Terrible.
But we did it and it was fun. I mean, it was really fun. And the whole scene was how we start, Michael Imperioli is our manager and he
From
wants
The Sopranos.
Yeah.
and he is like fresh off like in The Sopranos, so like, it was huge to be with him, and he's there and he's managing us, and we have to change this whole club's mind that we are
Because we're white, and everyone in the club's like, we're not going to give them a minute, but over the course of
the song. They all start getting into
and by
it.
the end of the song, the whole club's going crazy in that, and we're doing great. That's
And who's the guy who was the record?
the guy from the Fifth Element,
who's the big
Zeus.
Tiny Lister. Tiny Lister.
Tiny Lister, yeah.
Tiny Lister, who we
This is
told
a great thing. This is
we
great.
told everyone on set.
Friday.
We
Right,
said
right,
Friday.
Debo.
So
We told everyone on set.
They put us up in like an apartment thing. Okay, it
was a hotel.
It was a hotel, but it was a huge suite and everything. And
This is for the movie, not
for the
in
movie,
the
this is like we
Right.
spent a month in Toronto.
Oh,
It was
wow,
great.
okay.
And like hung out with Eddie Griffin, who was in the movie, and
Yeah.
Method Man, who was in the movie. Like we got to hang
was
with him.
amazing.
Incredible. And
So
like
we
we
told-
fully didn't understand how great that was.
And we
to
were
be able to-
out with all of them. We're like, we're going to have a party in our giant suite on Friday night. Everyone's invited. Come to
come.
this
We'll
party.
just light it
It's
up.
going to be
It'll
like
be great.
Friday. It's going to be amazing.
One person.
Tiny Lister,
Tiny Lister.
and his Asian girlfriend.
His
or
Asian
wife.
girlfriend, and he just talked to us about God, for an hour.
Talk to us about God for like
Really?
an hour.
We're like,
Yes.
this is the worst party. He talked to us with his one good eye. All right, so, about God.
Single barrel.
Yeah.
Single barrel.
He was more of just a flare gun. It's not that. So we did it in the movie, and it was great. I actually loved what we did in the movie. I've seen it a couple times. I mean, while the idea and concept of a white person rapping now has been done to death to the
Yeah.
point where it's like
then
it's
it was
back then it was okay, and I actually liked what we did. We managed to do what we do in these characters. And it was really funny, and playing off a Tiny Lister, who was just this badass dude.
Like a Suge Knight type guy.
He
Yeah.
gave us a ton. I
work
have
with.
to give him a lot of credit
Yeah.
because in our scenes, he was like very withholding and very menacing and all this shit, and it forced us to be really funny.
Yeah.
He would yell at us, and we were the way we jumped was so funny. Like I have to give him a lot of credit because he gave us a lot as actors. So it was really fun. So a couple months after the movie comes out and everything, they said our song made it on the CD.
On the sound.
Oh yeah, that's great.
CD, back when CDs still existed.
Yeah, I remember those.
So they're like, we're gonna have
a CD release party at Hollywood and Highland upstairs at this club.
And this, you guys are singing that track. I mean, rapping.
We rapped
excuse me,
that track, but I mean, we didn't rap it in the movie. We rapped it on.
Right.
We recorded it and then
over
did the
many
playback.
takes.
Yes.
And then
Lip-syncing,
haven't
yeah.
sung or rapped that song in like 2 years. And I don't know why we thought, yeah, we can do that.
So they asked us if we would perform at this
at the release party.
CD release party.
Okay.
Like you guys have been for the last 2 years, like you've been doing that song every
like
night
this
out
is
there.
everything we do.
Not only did we do that, but I was up in Northern California in Big Sur with my then girlfriend proposing to her that weekend.
God.
Okay. This is 15 years ago. Or 16
dumb
years ago.
we are.
Is this your now wife?
My now wife.
Okay.
And I was up there, I proposed to her, and then Randy, I guess you called me up there, or we kind of knew that it was happening. We
I
thought,
was like, but I was like, we gotta be.
you
there
got to
for
get down here. And I was like, I'm supposed to be here until we were going to stay until the night on Monday night. He's like, you got to leave early and come down for this because you got to be here on time.
because we gotta be on time. Because
That's sound check.
because that's what every great rapper is known for. Like this motherfucker be prompt.
He'd be
Punctual,
prompt.
man.
He'd be prompt.
punctual.
He'd be on time.
He be on. This dude, not a minute late. All the
So-
best
so
rappers. This dude
Left,
be on.
left an engagement weekend.
Right. So my wife, I'm like, we're looking at the beautiful view, and I'm like, let's go. We got to get down for the sound check for what will only be the most embarrassing thing we've ever had done in our entire lives in front of 1,000
But we
people.
just didn't know it. We're like, oh, we can handle it.
We got it.
It's 1,000 people.
1,000 people.
1,000 people. Okay.
That's a lot of people.
Thousand-
Too many people.
Too many people. So we get there and we sound check and we're kind of shaky on it.
And we're
At
like,
what point are you talking to each other like, fuck, I don't remember?
the whole time we're trying to sound check and get it. And we're talking
So
to
we're
each
trying
other
to work
and
it-
we're blaming each
and we're
other.
blaming
That's the
each other.
That's
He's
the other part
blaming-
about being in a duo is like you always immediately blame the other person for anything that goes wrong.
So we are in the back, and then all of a sudden, we're not the only ones performing. There's like a low rent SWV performing.
with Voices.
I remember
Voices.
SWV.
Like this girl group is coming, and then like a 3-man boy group is performing, and like some other singer is performing, and like people who are legitimately
Who are in the record
This
right.
is what they do.
This is their passion.
And they do it all all the time, and they are
And
gifted.
meanwhile, we're dressed like this to
we're
go
just like
do this.
normal fucking.
I'm like, I just came down from Northern California. Like,
hipster.
what did they have you wearing in the movie?
So in the movie, it was like I shaved my chest. In the movie, it was like crazy.
and we're wearing like these big, like
Kangol hats and jumpsuits and like you know what I mean, like
jackets and,
velour.
Timberlands.
It was
shoot
great.
boots.
It was so much fun to put all this shit on. I loved it so much. It was just a blast to just be something else and be someone else.
I don't know if it's in
If
there.
you can find my baby's daddy, you
looking
got to
for
look
it.
for it.
Brothers-
So the
Brothers
brother
Styles.
styles and my baby's daddy. And so we
STY.
LE
LZ.
Stop. Yeah, definitely don't want to spell it correctly.
I don't know if it was
I'm
in
not
there.
seeing
I
that.
don't see it. All right. Well, that's how big we
We'll
were in this
find it.
movie.
So anyway, so we were sitting in the back and we're just all gathered before, like way before this thing is about to start, and people are filing in
you guys should look on YouTube and see if you can find like a clip or a scene
of the
us.
scene. So all of a sudden we're sitting back there, and this tall black dude comes up to us.
And he's got
He's got two like
orange,
jerseys,
like basketball jerseys.
he's like
And I mean, way oversized.
way oversized.
I'm
Like
like
XX,
Like Yao Ming
Yeah.
would be like, give me the size down, right? like you.
So he says who his
Too
name is.
big for Yao.
Yeah, Yao Ming. So he says who his name is, and he's like, he told us who he was. He's Dominique Wilkins' brother. Dominique Wilkins, human highlight, from Atlanta, one of the greatest players of all time. Always would come in second to Michael Jordan
on
in dunk
this-
contests.
So this guy is his brother, and
He
he's
basically I wouldn't say invented, but like perfected and claimed the windmill dunk.
tomahawk.
Okay, the tomahawk, the windmill.
he did what I did at the youth center on an April. Okay.
Only slightly worse.
Only not as good, or else he would have beat Jordan if he did what I did. Dude, if someone in the dunk contest literally held onto the rim, went sideways, and fell down flat, I'd give him a 50.
the tournament. Just give him the trophy.
Give him a Kia. Give him a Kia. Give him the Kia he jumped over.
That's right. Just it. So he comes up to, he's like, "Hey man, will you wear these jerseys when you do your thing up there?" And we're like, yes, please, thank you. We don't have to wear what we're wearing right now. We'll wear this. I think I just wore the jersey. I didn't and jeans. I just took it off, and it was just huge. And we're like, okay, this is good. It's making us feel like we're in it a little more. Okay, we got this.
What does it say? Do you remember?
It was. We were both number 33, I think, or 32, whatever he was. I think 33 was that.
I don't know.
He was 32 or 3.
32 or 33.
And it was his number, but it wasn't a Hawks jersey. I know it didn't say Atlanta Hawks.
One was red and orange, and the other one was white and red and orange. So kind of Atlanta Hawks colors, but it just wasn't the dude could not get copyrights for anything. Like when he gave it to me, I was like, "Oh, you're estranged from Dominique." And I'm like, "You don't have a relationship.
You haven't spoken to him in 10 years. He doesn't know about this."
Nobody cleared this shit. Nobody did. So it is fucking packed. I mean, it's packed.
1,000 people.
1,000
That's
people
a
at
lot
Hollywood
of people.
Highland upstairs in this club, and they're all watching. They introduced
up the top level?
Yes.
I know
big giant
exactly. It
club.
was going to be the Wayans Brothers Club for a minute. I know exactly where you're talking about.
They introduce us to very little cheering.
Like to nothing.
Because nobody knows who we are, and nobody knows who we are in this thing. And the music starts.
And by the way, I don't, this is how deluded we were and how stupid we were, because we're like, we perform all the time. Like, I think somewhere in the back of my mind, the deep, deep back of my mind, I was like, we might be talking to someone about a record deal after tonight. In a booth.
It could happen.
In a booth. Like, we'll have to say no because we're busy with other stuff. But we'll be polite and we'll listen
let's
to
let them down lightly.
Let's Capitol Records pitch us, and then we'll let them down lightly.
Let them down lightly.
Tell them we'll think about it, then we'll email them no. All right.
So we get up on stage, and we fucking suck.
We suck so bad.
We're off the time of
Do
the
you
music.
forget the words?
The words,
opening
slow,
lines.
and once you get slow, you're like, do you catch up with the words that you missed, or do you just jump to the point and start where the music is at? And we couldn't decide, and we couldn't
figure it
communicate.
out. So we're doing different
And
things.
are you going back on it?
Yeah. We're doing a lot. We've default to this instead of this. We're default.
Forgot everything they taught.
Everything's wrong. It was a mess. It was a disaster.
And we could see some of our friends who we invited there, even they were like, they wouldn't look.
They are.
You know when your friends can't look at you when you're doing something?
It was so bad, and we're like, "This is not us. We're dying with other people's stuff." It was just like it was.
No one is dancing. No one's clapping. It's the opposite of what It's the opposite of what happened in the movie.
Like we started,
we had everyone at the beginning, and then
we
by
lost
the end of the song, we lost the whole room.
It's the anti of the movie. So we go to the back, and we're sitting in the back, and we are like, "What the?
We are
what did
so
we just
embarrassed.
How
do?"
long was the song? 3, 4
Song's
minutes?
3 or 4 minutes.
Which, by the way,
Is an
when you're
eternity.
bombing,
It's
it
an
is
eternity.
4 hours.
Oh my god,
Yes.
it was an eternity. And we go to the back, and we're sitting in the back, and like now nobody is talking to us. Meanwhile, before, the mini Shetland sisters with voices, they're like talking us up. They're like chatting us up and stuff, and this guy's talking to us and all this stuff. We get back to the back,
No
and
one's saying
no
a
one
word.
is talking to us. It is deathly quiet.
But there's a lot of people in
There's
there.
a
And
lot
now
of people.
Dominique Wilkins' estranged brother is now estranged from you.
Well,
guys.
he comes back.
So he comes back in. It
towards
is
us.
so quiet. It is so deathly quiet.
And he whispers, but
Everyone could hear it. He's like, "Yeah, I'm going to need those jerseys."
Made us take the jerseys
jerseys
off,
off.
and Randy had taken his shirt off.
now.
So his shirt was off. So now it was
I had to
so
go get my shirt and put it on and button it
It
up.
was so humiliating.
It was.
so humiliating. and then I had to go face my now fiance, who was like,
that was worth it.
Rethinking everything. Yeah.
so glad. Yeah,
Thank God
so glad
were
we
here
drove
on
home
time.
early for this. And I was like, this is a foreshadowing to the future of your
Oh,
life.
my
Oh
God.
man, it was a great, terrible moment that took us a while to understand how great that moment was.
We were mortified. We wouldn't even come out to the party. Like, I mean, because like after everyone did their songs, there was like another 2 hours of like a party with
And
great
we're like,
food.
we
and all-
gotta leave.
We had to leave.
We gotta leave. But that was just a great,
Oh, God.
beautiful,
That is fucking great.
beautiful.
That's what I'm talking about. Like,
That's
you
what I'm
can
talking.
laugh
That's
now.
what it is, man.
You can laugh
we
now.
can laugh now. We can
Right-
laugh. I bet it took us like 6 months after that to be able to look back at that and be like, all right, man, whatever. It was really funny.
That is so good. And now a quick break to hear from our first sponsor, Away. Away creates thoughtful products designed to change how you see the world. They started with the perfect suitcase, crafted with features that make travel more seamless. Now, they offer a range of essentials that solve real travel problems, so all you have to think about is where you're headed next, because getting away means getting more out of every trip to come. Away knows everyone has a different travel style. That's why they make their carry-on an array of colors, 2 sizes, and 2 materials, a strong yet flexible polycarbonate and an anodized aluminum. I got the carry-on. I love the carry-on. All right, it's lightweight. It's durable. You have a 100-day free, trial that lets you try any Away product on the road, by the way. It's a limited lifetime warranty. It means they'll fix or replace your bag if it ever gets damaged. And my favorite part of the whole thing is an optional ejectable battery to keep your phone charged. This battery, it's got 2 inputs. It'll keep, I think it's a 4-hour charge or something like that. I use it on every trip I go. Every time I'm out on the road, I'm always bringing that suitcase. And all the same features that I love about the carry-on, they also have in a bigger carry-on. So you can get everything. They're designed to last a lifetime. Again, a 100-day trial on everything they make. Free shipping on any Away order within the contiguous U.S., Europe, and Australia. And if you want to see it for yourself, here's what's really cool. You can shop everything Away has at their stores. They have a store in New York, Austin, L.A., San Francisco, Boston, Chicago, and London. As I said, I use it every time I travel. I love the optional battery. Suitcase is durable. It's really great. And also, it straps down. It's really well designed. It's got a laundry bag in the thing. Man, it's badass. For $20 off a suitcase, visit awaytravel.com/honeydew and use promo code honeydew during checkout. That's $20 off a suitcase. Visit awaytravel.com/honeydew and the promo code is honeydew during checkout. Our next sponsor is mybookie.com. It's a new NFL season. Antonio Brown is on the Raiders if he can figure out his helmet situation. Le'Veon Bell is with the Jets. ODB is in Cleveland in the AFC North where the Ravens play with Lamar Jackson and all the studs we have on our team, Earl Thomas, Mark Ingram. The one thing that hasn't changed is where I'm putting my money down on all the games. MyBookie is the place to bet on football every weekend. MyBookie has better bonuses and more prop bets than any other sports book, period. This year, they're hosting the first online handicap and super contest. First place is guaranteed, this is ridiculous, is guaranteed to win at least $100,000, and it only costs $100 to enter. All you got to do is pick 5 NFL games against the spread, all right, every week to climb the leaderboard and score your share of the huge cash prize pool. I would only recommend a service to my listener that's been good to me. That's why MyBookie is always the right play. You bet, you win, they pay. MyBookie has live in-game betting on every NFL game. They've got the most rewarding player perks in the business, and for you fantasy guys out there and girls, you can even bet the over-under on how many fantasy points a player will score each game. Up to $1,000 first deposit bonus, double your first deposit. Use promo code HONEYDEW to activate the offer. Visit MyBookie online today. That's MyBookie. And don't forget to use the promo code HONEYDEW when you create your account to claim the bonus. Bet, win, get paid. Head to MyBookie online today and use promo code HONEYDEW to claim your bonus today. And now back to the do.
All right, so I'm going to do that. We'll tell you this other one. So when we first moved out here to Los Angeles, moved from New York to L.A., it's crazy.
I'm just looking at one of you in a fucking goddamn Yao Ming jersey. He's shirtless.
Just sitting there.
Sitting backstage.
Like I was waiting for the doctor to come in and like, shit, give me a prostate.
Dr. J?
It's not Dr. J.
Yeah.
So, so we moved from New York to LA in '99. move in. And in New York, we lived in a very small apartment. It was 3 of us, me and Jay, and then our friend Eric Friedman, great writer, great dude. We've been close with him since high school. Although he lived in New Jersey, we lived in St. Louis. We connected on an overseas trip that we took and just stayed close. He went to a different college, but we stayed close.
Cool.
And then we're like, let's move to New York together. Let's write comedy together. We just had this. And he's just a wonderful person. He lives here in L.A. in Eagle Rock now. So when we first moved to L.A., we lived on Harper between 1st and 3rd. So, it's
kind of West Hollywood.
West Hollywood, near the Beverly Center, kind of
right
West
where it's
Hollywood
at,
area,
yeah.
kind of right in the center of everything. But we moved from New York, where we lived in Chelsea, very small apartment, but 3 bedrooms, which, that's unheard of, to this upper floor of a house, of a duplex.
It was big.
It was huge. It was so big. We had all this space. We had like rooms. We had a dining room. We had a breakfast nook. We had a kitchen. Each of us had rooms. We had a huge
Where were your framed jerseys?
Right next to the sliced cheese.
In a shadow box by the sliced cheese in the back. Right.
And the brooms.
By the shadow boxes and the dustpans.
You can buy shirts, T-shirts, and CVS.
I'm sure
I know you can.
I'm sure. And they're but they're not like a real brand. They'll just say California Sports.
Yeah, that's it.
And it'll have a sailboat on it.
Yeah.
And you're like,
what sport is
that?
what sailing team?
So we're in this apartment and we're like, we need to throw a party.
We got to throw a party. And we knew a bunch of people from the comedy scene because we started coming to LA in 98 to develop this show from New York. And that was really the comedy scene here was what said, we got to go. We got to go.
And plus, where you're living, you're right there next to the Improv, the Laugh Factory,
Sure.
and the Comedy
All of
Store.
it.
You're
All of
right
it.
there in the middle of
But
all
we
of
but
it.
we even went to Largo on a Monday night, and the Monday night Largo show was the show.
Yeah.
That was it.
Very
That was
special.
Jack Black. It was
Right. That's the old
Kathy
location,
Griffin. It
right?
was
Yeah.
Bob Odenkirk. It was David Cross. All the best.
Galifianakis. All the people we loved and that we idolized, and then we were on the show with them, and it felt really, really special and good.
So we were doing that when we were traveling out in 98 to write the show. And then we said, okay, we should just move here. And so we got out here and the comedy scene was very embracing and very cool. And we became friends with lots of people. We had a lot of people from New York who moved out here. So we were like, let's throw a party. We have a big space. Let's just throw this huge party. So this is 99. We were making mixtapes of music to play. So taking music off of CDs and stuff and putting it onto a tape that we were then going to just mixtape
Yeah,
play.
we need 4 tapes for this party. That's the amount of time this party is going to be, and it'll auto reverse and flip over on the other side, and then we're all good.
So we went around to the neighborhood and invited everyone to
Did
come.
you?
All day.
Because
we didn't want them to call the
we
cops.
didn't want them to call the cops.
We're like, we invited you. You cannot call the cops on us.
Or if you have a problem, just let us know and we'll turn it down. Let us know and don't let the cops know. That's pretty much what we were doing. This couple that was 87 years old, they were going to come to this party, but we were introduced ourselves and all this stuff. So there's a woman who lived across the street from us in an apartment thing, and her name was Susan. I do not know her last name, and I met somebody who lived across the street from us and knew her. So I'm not just imagining her. And the way we characterize her in this is exactly the way that she is.
She had this is 2000, right? So she probably
She had a 1993 Saab convertible, like a Saab. It was maroon Saab. And she would wash that thing every day.
She would just water.
Like-
It was almost like she was watering the car, hoping it would grow into a newer, better car. Right? I'm like, it's not going to change.
not.
It's just a fucking Saab.
Yeah.
That's all it's going to be.
And I bet you could trace California's drought straight to her.
Right. So she's watering this thing all day.
Like,
She's
just
the genesis
slow
of
down.
the
It's every day. you know?
Every day you got to wash
And
this stuff.
she
But
would
that
do-
tells you everything you need to know about her. It's
She was-
the car couldn't get clean enough for
She
her.
was fastidious about it, and she would always be wearing short shorts and
Was she
flip-flops.
attractive?
She had a beautiful, amazing body because she worked out, I think, a lot too. I think she worked out and watered the Saab, and that's all she did in her life. I don't know
Watered
what
the
else she-
Saab.
Well, damn, time to water the Saab. Who's going to water that?
And she was okay. She wasn't that
Older?
attractive.
What would you say? 30s
She was at the time we were 27,
She was probably about
40,
Okay.
45. So significantly
But she was
older.
in amazing shape, and she was,
But her face, not so much.
but
Whatever.
still, she was an
Who are we to talk?
I
But
mean,
anyway.
we're hideous. But she was an aging woman who was still in shape and watering her car every day. All right,
So you have to know about an uptight person. So we invited her. She was out watering the car, of course. We invited her to come and everybody else. And we get back and we're just like making the mixtape. And we had invited everybody, all of our comic
any
friends.
person we knew in comedy who was out here, they were coming to this party. We hoped.
We hoped. So, and we'd called a bunch of friends and put a bunch of calls out. So we were waiting to hear back who's going to come, just to give us an idea. And we're
And
making
roughly, what are you expecting?
Like
the 100?
100 people.
Okay, that's a lot of people.
and I would say probably 75 to 100 people came.
Wow, okay.
It was
Super fun party.
super fun. It was great. But it's the afternoon. We're making the mixes.
loud.
It's loud. We're just blasting the music. We're so excited. We've talked to all the neighbors. It is what it is.
Phone rings.
Phone rings.
I'm in the front of the house. Randy's in the back making the mixtape. And I'm in the front of the house, and I answer the phone. I say hello, and it's this woman from across the street with a question about the party.
She's like, "Hey, it's Susan," and then I hear the phone ring and I pick it up in the back and I'm
A
like,
minute later.
Remember that when you could do that?
Yes.
"Yeah."
So he
I
picks,
picked up the other landline. This is
Yeah.
how long ago it is. I pick it up.
You're listening in on a call.
No, I just picked it up because
you
I
can't do that anymore.
I can't listen.
you can't just be like gently pick up a receiver. So right, and your name comes up. So he picks up the phone.
I pick up the phone
and he hasn't heard hello, it's Susan from across the
no,
street.
I just pick it up because I tried to grab it because there's music playing. I ran to it. I was like, "Hello," and she says, "Hello."
Hi.
She says, "Hi."
But she'd already told me who she was.
So I said, she sounded like our friend Lisa Delarios, who's a great comic from Austin, Texas, really good friend. And, at the time she was really good friends and still is, I'm sure, with Zach. And so we were like, Zach's coming and Galifianakis. And we thought, you're going to come and he's going to come and Dennis Gubbins is going to come. Although that group of people were going to show up. And I was so psyched that she had got the message that we really wanted her to come.
So she was like, I have a question about tonight. And Randy's like,
Hey, do you know where it is? Do you know where it is? Do you know how to get here?
Do you know how to get here? So the second Randy says, do you know how to get here? I'm like, he has no idea this is the woman from across the street.
So
Do you know how
she's
to
like, yeah, of course.
I know how
And
to
I
get
was
it.
like, okay. Music's still blasting. I'm like, all right, Jesus, attitude.
And what's playing? What kind of
I
music
mean,
are
it's
you
probably
throwing
like
together?
Sublime Bad Fish. You know what I mean? Or like some
big pun.
big pun,
Yeah.
like it's still not a player.
but I
Yeah,
trust
still
you.
not a player. Not a player.
The hot tub, popping bubbly, rubbing your spot, love. They can punish me.
Yeah, so, come on, that's a little bit of that double barrel coming at you.
right there. A little
And
Yo,
then-
I'm gonna need those shirts back, man. I'm gonna need both.
Like
of those.
Dominique Wilkins' brother walks in here and is like, "I'm gonna need these shirts back." You didn't give us these shirts,
This
man.
is my shirt.
My shirt. Can't take this back. So she's like, I'm like, do you know?
I
where-
don't know the name of the clothing line, but I think it was probably like unique clothing for Nick.
It was not, or it was like Yubu instead
All right.
of Fubu.
You
I don't
boo.
know.
Had to F off on it.
Yubu or PHUB.
All right.
PHUBOO. PHOOBO.
Oh, God.
So this woman says, I have a question because you want to get to it. And she's like, is it okay if I bring some friends with me to the party?
And before Jason can answer, because it's Lisa Delarios and we have just the type of relationship,
He thinks it's hers.
I think it's her. So I say,
so. He's going to do a bit now with her.
so I say, sure, the more pussy, the better.
to the woman who waters her car.
Okay.
Now I like almost dropped the.
Oh, my God.
Well, I like move away with it, and because we have the same voice.
Yeah, I was going to say, you sound
I don't
the
know
same.
if she knows if he's even gotten on the phone, and I'm like, she's gonna think I did
Right,
this.
yeah.
And I was like,
She's like, okay.
I'm like,
and-
kidding, yes, bring as many people, and then we hang up the phone, and I'm like, she's gonna call the cops on
I
this
was
party
like,
now.
who? Lisa Delario?
I'm
She's like,
that
no,
was Susan
Susan.
from the cross street. Randy like threw the phone. He like threw it. He couldn't handle it. He was like, "What did I do?" And I'm like, "You ruined our party before it even happened."
She's gonna call the cops like before it even happened because why
She
would
didn't show up.
She doesn't show up to the party.
She doesn't
Party's
call-
great. Doesn't show up. Nobody calls the cops. Next morning, we are hungover. Just gonna walk down the street half a block to where Toast was.
Yeah.
and
grab
get a
some
little
breakfast.
breakfast to
And
what?
then postmortem the party and talk all
and
about
just talk about the whole thing. I come outside. She's of course watering her car.
it. She's there.
with an aggressive silence. You know what I mean? Just what? And I'm like, I gotta go over and say
She's
something.
our neighbor.
She's our neighbor. We gotta live with this person. I gotta go over and say something.
I'm
to
sorry
apologize.
about my brother, Sid.
Sorry, Jason's a real loose cannon.
He's like, I got this. I'll take care of it.
I'll take care of this
See that guy
myself.
over there?
Meanwhile, and I was like, again, hungover. You're not thinking properly. We partied hard. Like we threw down the way 27-year-olds who are in this city newly.
The way I would try to do today and be like, oh, can't do that anymore.
Can't do that.
That's all.
Check that off the list.
That's fun. Can't have a party.
Done
So
by 10:30.
So, I mean, we partied late. We partied hard. We wake up, and I go, I gotta deal with this. We can't just walk by and not say anything. That would be the worst. I've got to handle it right now. Our parents brought us up to be like, you got an issue, you got a problem, don't avoid it. That's not the way to do it. You walk right over to it. So I walk over and proceed to make everything 10 times worse. Just continue to dig a hole that
my
she's
God.
watering, and now it's mud and it's all around me. And I just was like, Susan, I am so sorry about what I said yesterday. I thought you were my friend. Lisa, you clearly are
He was
not.
like, he kept like saying, I
thought you were
a
my
friend of mine.
I
Like
thought you were a friend of mine. You are clearly not a friend of
not a
ours.
friend, I thought.
Friends sometimes, if they're really close friends, they have
You
a
can say
separate.
anything to them.
You can say anything to
And
them.
it's kind of like if you can't handle it. He
it's-
kept like going and making it. So
I mean, I
bad.
don't know if you have close friends
You're
like
standing there listening.
I'm like about 12 feet away, like just going like this.
Just go-
I don't even know how to get in and like save it.
I don't know if you have
Let me
any.
just take the hose, Sid. Let me just take this for you, Sid.
Like, I
You
don't
know,
know
if you put your thumb over, you can spray like this.
I don't know if you have any close friends in your life, but when you
seem
do,
to be out here
you're
by
like,
yourself most of the time. Like whatever Randy was saying, you just
God.
kept making it.
it's so bad.
And we literally could, if she was
I think I just-
outside, if she was outside and Randy was
we had to
gonna-
be somewhere. I had to wait for her to be done
to be
leave.
done with the car in order to leave the house.
Because I just couldn't do it with her there, because I just couldn't face this woman for the rest of the time that we lived there.
And then you moved.
How long are we talking
then
about?
We're talking about like 3 months because it was the end of our.
Okay.
Yeah, so
stay
like
at
But for
this thing.
3 months.
3 months,
3 months.
every
You'd have to
time
wait till that
I'd
car
have to
was
look
watered.
out, see if she was gone, and wait.
And that
for
was
the-
probably like 4 times, but
Yeah,
still,
but still.
I saw him
Yeah.
hiding in the house, like like Anne Frank from the from the Nazi comments he made, and he's hiding until she's gone.
and then head out.
That was-
What? How was her response? She just was she
just-
polite, defiant,
she was
silent?
Quietly
Disappointed.
unhappy
Yeah.
and disappointed with everything that I was
Like
saying.
she wasn't letting him off the hook because there's 2 ways.
She could have been like, don't worry about it. I didn't realize
I
that.
get it. You're committed.
She
was like-
let me on. She
She
kept me on the
kept
hook.
going. She's like,
I was
she
like-
almost wasn't saying anything, stepping and just letting him like hang himself with his own rope. It was amazing to watch, but it was,
Terrible to be in,
oh
and
my
then
God, he was like sweating.
years later, I'm like sweating out
sweating out all the
alcohol, just spewing out from my forehead,
It was so embarrassing.
just to step in it over and over and over again. But it was
Oh,
a great,
God.
great fuck up in life. It was just perfect. Nuts.
Yeah, you guys have a lot of honeydew
mean,
moments. You're not lying.
That's you kind of have to. We live our lives in such a way that like. You're gonna go. It's either gonna be great or it's gonna be terrible. We hope it's great, but if it's terrible, we got a story.
I also think that our lot in life and what we do, it's partly because we do that, and we can see those moments that shit does happen.
I
You know?
agree with you. I agree with you. Although I do think these things happen to other people.
They
and
definitely
just,
do.
They just try to forget them immediately because they're just so traumatizing and horrifying.
But we're all like, hey, remember that time you said that
right.
pussy shit?
Or like-
I brought that up to him forever.
I'm like,
Ever.
why the trauma? Why did this made me feel so bad? I was so mad at myself for doing that. I was so embarrassed for the whole interaction afterwards was just made it 10 times worse. I'm like, I feel terrible. Whenever you feel anything as hard as you feel it, there's
something-
there's
warm
something in
feeling.
it. I know.
going
It's like
through you and you're just
just
like,
to,
God,
just to feel yourself suddenly sweating in a
Yeah.
situation where you should not be sweating.
it was.
That's it. And
Susan,
you're-
hit me with that hose real quick. All right. Sweat.
I know you got.
that is a sob story.
That is a sob story. As it were.
Wow.
So
Why don't you share this St. Louis story with
Okay.
us?
So this is a story that happened to us a long time ago. We were back in St. Louis, right? Were we still in New York or were we in LA at that point? I think we were in LA.
L.A. because it was just after
right
it was
after
in
the Susan
2000
party?
2002.
Okay.
So we were in LA and we came back to St. Louis and we weren't performing in St. Louis. I think that
We're
weekend.
just visiting our parents.
And we went to, why were we at the radio station? I think we were, because someone we know was on the radio in St. Louis and he's like, hey, I didn't know you guys were in town. You want to come do something on the show? Great, yes. So we popped in and we walked by the old Funny Bone Comedy Club.
Which is downstairs from the radio station in
Still
the
there,
mall.
I think.
In the mall, the Westport Mall, where I had my first kiss in the glass elevators going up there in
That
seventh
was where
grade.
your
So it's
first
a
kiss?
sentimental.
That's a nice moment.
Yeah, it was a
And
good
that
one.
was the same night we went with a bunch of people up to this like Benihana style place called Rabata of Japan. It was my first date of my life. My date ate the food, got sick, threw up in the bathroom. I had to take her home, couldn't go to the dance. But when I took her home, I hung out with the babysitter, who was pretty cool. I didn't ask her out, but she was pretty cool because she had a little brother. And me and the babysitter waited for her parents to get home, and we watched the Bill Buckner Through the Legs.
Oh, that you saw that game with her that night?
I saw that game with her from like the seventh inning on. It was
Amazing.
It was so great.
behind the bag. Here comes Knight to score. And the Mets win. And then like 25 seconds of no calling it. It
Right.
was amazing.
And then I just hear like throwing up like in the corner. I'm like, should I ask if she's okay? Because I'm freaking out from that moment. But anyway, so we walk by and we see who's performing at the club. By the way, I think us telling this story, we've told it a little bit before and something else, it like is the reason why the Funny Bone will never book us again.
Yeah.
But we're going to tell this story. So
Is that right?
yeah.
Congrats. Even
In our own
better.
hometown. So we
their loss.
walk by the thing and we see who's performing there that night. It's Ryan Stout, a comedian
Of course,
we know,
yeah.
Stouty the best.
a
Great
comic
dude.
we
Love him.
love.
Yeah.
He's so funny. And Randy and I were like, oh my God, that's amazing. Like we're in town. We weren't planning on
Because
performing.
years earlier, we were doing a headlining weekend at the Funny Bone, and Chappelle was in town and said, "Hey man, can I jump on your show, like the early Saturday night show, or the late Saturday night show?" We're like,
Yes,
"Of course,
100%.
please, we knew
That's
him
what
from
you
New
do.
York."
Yeah,
Like
right.
when another headliner comes, it's the most beautiful thing you can do in comedy, to have a drop in, someone who people may or may not know. I don't know that people knew us, but we were like, hey, Ryan, can we jump on the show and do a guest set? We weren't asking for an hour. We weren't asking for 30 minutes. We were asking for like 10 minutes. All right. And he's like, that sounds awesome. Let me just let the club know so they just know what's up.
To get another microphone and all that shit.
He calls us back like 5 minutes later. He's like, they said no.
We're like, they said no.
We're like, come on, man. You're messing with us. He's like, they said no. We were like, all right. That's
It's just so weird.
That's weird. And then what happened? Then we came back in, and then he said, okay, they'll let you do it on a different night. They'll let you do it on a different night. It's like a best of St. Louis night, not during the weekend, but it's a best of St. Louis night. And it was, what was
We
it?
might be confusing two stories.
Are we confusing? Oh, this
think the
came
stout
after
was
this.
later. Stouty was
Sorry,
later.
this came after this. That was their response when they found out that we had told this other story. So the other story, and it's similar. It's similar. We were back. We found out. We asked them if we can get on to a
Best of St. Louis.
Best of St. Louis show. It was a benefit show for diabetes, which our dad had, and we had already been on TV and stuff. That's right. Sorry to confuse that. And then they said, yes, you can come on the show, and you can come on at the end of the show. And we said, great.
You do 30 minutes.
Okay.
The end of a show, which it was also poorly planned because it was like 8 comics doing 10 minutes and then us doing 30 minutes. Like that's a terrible idea.
But we were like, okay, we'll do it. We'll gladly do it. And our parents come to the show.
They're like, we'll come. We're like,
We're the best of St. Louis. now,
Yes.
right?
they're like,
Okay.
we'll come. We'll see you guys there. We were like, I don't
You don't
know.
have to
You
come.
don't have to come. They're like, nope, let's go. And they show up.
And of course, like we're all in one car. So we're like sitting in the back seat like we're 8, and our parents are driving us to this thing. So they go in and we get them situated in the back and we start watching the show. And we're standing out in the bar and all these comics who like, you know, they've been around St. Louis for a while. Clearly, like some people were not like happy that we had just drifted in and are now headlining the show. You know, they're the kind of people like when someone's like aggressively complimenting you, you're like, you don't mean that, right?
Right, yeah.
You guys are doing great. You guys are really doing good.
Yeah. We just we
Doing really good.
We're
really,
not big time.
really
like
happy
you.
for all of your
We're
success.
not superstars like
Yeah.
you, and we're like, we're not that either. But it was just, it made us feel uncomfortable. And then other comics who we knew, good comics from St. Louis, were coming off stage, and people were like, how is it in there? And they're like,
Don't take a breath, man. Do not take a breath.
When you hear "Don't take a breath,"
You know, it's like an unruly crowd, and if you give them an inch, like it's over.
They're stepping
It's
on your
over.
throat.
Yeah,
it's
it's
done.
over.
Yeah.
period. And so the show keeps going on, and it's getting worse. And they're
This
like,
is a diabetes benefit.
diabetes benefit sold out. All right. And our blood sugar is like dropping because we're like, this is a nightmare. It's terrible. So we're in the back and they're like, we'll light you at 27. And we're like, yeah, light us at
I guess so.
27. And the guy gets up and he like almost purposely doesn't give any of our credits. None. He's like, your next comic, not even your headliners, whatever. He basically, and did he get our name right? I can't remember. He was trying to tell people to be quiet so long that I think he forgot what he was supposed to say about us. And so he said our name. The next act is the Sklar Brothers. We come up, no recognition. Nobody knows who we are. We walk by our parents.
Nothing like St. Louis's own.
No, nothing like.
And we'd done stuff.
Yeah.
We had done stuff.
Yeah.
We get on stage and they're not listening to. They're talking as we get on stage, and we are not far enough in our career to know how to handle it. Like I will say, the other night we saw you a couple months, maybe a month ago, at the Comedy Store. You had to follow Joey Diaz,
Yeah.
and it was pretty much his crowd. Like a lot of people there to see him, and we watched you make tiny adjustments in what you were doing. And punch certain things in your material, which we love the material, but you knew what to hit to try and save that room because you basically followed the last guy they should have seen. You had to follow.
That's the crazy thing about the Comedy Store is like it's Sebastian.
You're following everybody.
Then
like
it's
that.
Joey
So
Diaz.
you better be
Then
ready.
it's
You better be
Chris
ready.
D'Elia. You better be ready.
And so we watched you come on stage and have a good set after that, which is nearly impossible. But
Yeah, Joey's tough to follow.
He's
'cause
tough.
no one's got stories like that.
No matter what you say, and you have great stories, your stories aren't going to have an edge like his.
No.
Your stories aren't going to be about selling drugs and shooting a guy. Your story isn't going
Seeing
to
a dead body at 6.
right.
Yeah.
and then still being friends with that guy. You know, like right.
Kidnapping someone and being friends with
And then
them.
becoming friends with him. No one has that story except him. So we watched you, and you knew how to like. You probably in the back of
You
your mind
did the
as you're
best
watching,
you could in that situation, which is nearly
but
impossible.
you called on all of your experience. We didn't have that experience yet.
Right.
So we start performing, and we can just feel, and we're telling a long story.
and we just feel the room just losing the
Like
whole room.
losing the
we
whole-
lost our parents. I'm like, what the fuck? You guys are here for us.
They're out in the
you guys
car.
can't
I
be
see them
talking.
like talking. I'm like, what are you doing? And
it is just
talking,
so embarrassing.
unruly, no one paying attention.
We
not
look
one
down.
person laughing.
We look down. We are like 8 minutes into our
Oh,
30
God.
minute
It's
set,
a 20
and we're like
And we
through
see-
half of our
and
material.
we can see like the comics who were aggressively commenting, and like peeking their head
Yeah.
into the room, like giving us the like, yeah, keep going. And we're turning on each other a little bit, and we're almost delivering the act to each other
Angrily.
man. And some guys like, hey man, some guy from like 3 tables in front of me is like, you guys suck. Like at a
diabetes benefit.
You guys suck. And this is like, we should have come back with something, but we just didn't know what to do. So stupidly, we opened up the floor to him. We're like, okay, sir, why do we suck? And he's like, I don't know.
You just suck. We're like,
and the crowd goes crazy.
and we're like, how did he beat us with the same information?
repeated it.
yeah,
Like
he just
no,
repeated it, and now we're like,
no new information. Like offered nothing to the.
and the crowd's laughing, and what did we do at that point? We started yelling at this guy.
Started yelling at this guy, and we went off on him in a way that.
Well, we said like this, and this worked. This is
God,
the
I
only
would've
thing
loved
that
to have
worked.
seen this,
We
'cause
were
this
like,
is not you
"You're-"
guys.
We're like, you're so fucking dumb, because now we're so mad, and our parents are there. This is not what we wanted to do
at all in front of our parents.
You're so fucking dumb that we're gonna have to talk to you like a dog.
Who is just shit on the carpet.
And so we're going to now tell you that what you just did is not right. as if you were a dumb dog.
You stupid dog.
Bad
you
dog.
bad dog.
No,
you dumb
you're a
idiot
dumb
dog.
Fucking dog.
Put
I'm
your
gonna get a
fucking tail
newspaper and
between
hit
your legs,
you on the back.
stupid
You
dog.
wanna go in the cage,
you dummy,
bad
you
fucking
idiot,
dog.
you dumb.
And
And like we're just
hammering, and then the crowd likes that.
crowd loved that.
I'm like-
loved it. Like applause break, and it
Applause break.
felt terrible what we just did.
Right.
Then we tried to go into our next bit, and then
Failure,
just lost.
failure. We lose him again.
Lose them again. And we're just like 13 minutes. We're like, all right, good night.
Humiliated, and we're so mad. We get off the stage after 13 minutes. This is a nightmare. Walk past all these people who are mean to
Comedians
us.
are like,
walk past the comedians who are like, yeah, you
Can't
guys
spell
do-
Sklar without L.A.
Yeah, good luck, bro.
Yeah, all right.
They say
that
that
is
shit.
right, but I mean, that's
So awful. Like, yes, grammatically you're correct. but
Technically, that's
terrible.
And
then
so we go outside
go up the escalator
in
like
this indoor mall. All right?
in their mall, and we're like walking, and it's like blaming each other.
Why can't you handle your business? My business, it's my side of the room. I can't control this side of the room. What if we were on the other side of the stage? He's like, well, handle your business.
Handle your business.
I'm like arguing with him. It's the dumbest argument ever. And we're so pissed. We get all the way to the parking garage, and then we stop, and we're like,
Mom and Dad.
they're back there with the guy that
they're
hates
in
you.
the room.
In the
You gotta go back
all
in.
the way back.
Oh no!
And
You
we're
gotta go back in.
and we're the end of the show. So we have to walk back through the crowd that hated us.
Like booing us
People
while they're
booing
out.
us on an escalator. You ever get heckled on an escalator? And it goes real slow.
Right by
It goes real slow. Yeah, you guys have a lot of trouble. And it's like, they can keep talking. It's not like you can go and
Can't
hide
go
anywhere.
anywhere. You're on the escalator.
Oh, my God.
So we get down, and our parents are sitting
in the
why?
lobby.
Sitting in the lobby,
On
just
this little
on
leather
this little
couch.
bench, like they're like immigrants at Ellis Island, waiting for a new last name.
They're just sitting
like
there.
sitting
They're
there.
just sitting there. And
We're like, let's go. Let's get the fuck out
go.
of here. Let's go, please.
so
let's
mad
go.
at them.
that
And
they
we
wanted to come, and we're like, just like
mad at them for supporting our comedy. Like, it's just misplaced anger. We're just so mad. And now the people in the lobby are watching us yell at our parents. Like, that's the new show that they get to watch.
That's right.
Yeah, right.
It's probably way better than what we
It's
did on
probably
stage.
funnier than what we
more
did on
compelling.
stage. Yeah. And
So we go up and we start walking, and like,
and now we're angry at other people. And people are like, yeah, nice job. And we're like, fuck off. Like, in front of our parents, like yelling at someone, like, to see you do some shit. What have you done in your life?
exactly.
What have you done in your life to these people? Like,
So we go.
All you've done is get diabetes.
Exactly. Meanwhile, our dad had diabetes.
Right.
Okay.
You're cussing at people, yelling at people who have what your dad
Dad has. And our dad's got these like big old shoes that were made in
Oh, the
Louisville that were
diabetes
like
socks from
Diabetes shoes.
CVS.
diabetes shoes, like the Frankenstein shoes. So he doesn't.
huge, so he doesn't
He's
get a
walking so
sore-
slowly.
They're
and
walking so slow.
It's like if we were like, it's like a
Oh,
rack
God.
focus in a thing where it like is pushing and like he's getting
we're
farther.
like, how are we farther from
How
the
is he
door?
not
We've been walking for like 9 minutes.
coming?
You're going to let everyone from the crowd walk past
Oh
us?
my God.
We're like ready to fucking fight people.
Yeah, we're like ready to square off. And the best part is there's all these people who are gathered around the door as you go right into the parking garage. But because our dad has the handicap spot, it's the spot
Very
right,
spot right next to the
garage
door.
Right
So
there
all
in
these
front of
people who did not like us are all hanging around, like reminiscing
And
about how
we're-
shitty our set
and we're
was.
like, yeah, fuck you.
yeah,
you want to fucking go?
You want a piece? Let's fucking go right now. We're like ready to fight people.
You're getting in the back.
And then we get in the back of our car, and our parents drive us home like we're little
like
kids.
we're in car seats and we drive home.
That was embarrassing.
Nightmare.
That's humiliating.
That was a freaking nightmare.
We were like, we just shouldn't do
we
comedy
should
anymore.
stop.
We talked
my
about quitting that night.
It's like, we can't do this. We can't do this at all. It was.
I still feel the embarrassment of it.
Oh man, that was.
This is the best part. Is it's a
It's
benefit there to
diabetes
help
benefit.
people.
Yeah. Sure, we raised some money for diabetes.
The next day, they're like Sklar Brothers taunting the audience, asking people with diabetes if they want
Yeah.
a fist
Yeah,
fight.
ask, what have they done?
See you at
wait,
the candy store. or no,
Why
I
won't Funny Bone have you back though?
So I think we told that story.
We told it. So what happened was the Ryan Stout was much later. So
Sorry, I
that,
missed
that
it.
happened. Stout was later.
Yeah.
So we were doing a radio thing, and we
Oh,
saw
that's
that
right.
Stout was there.
I
and
think we told a version or some as that story was happening to us. We were trying to make sense of it and told it, and they found out about it and thought we were bad mouthing the Funny Bone. In which case, because they just didn't run a good show that night, and it kind of put us in a bad space. Because there were a couple moments where like maybe they should have said, hey, just do 10 minutes at the end, or this show's running long, like why don't you cut your set down, or the crowd's kind of crazy, so we're going to make sure when we go up we take care of you. We will make sure we get them quiet and ready for your last
There was
comic.
none of that.
None
it
of
was
that
mishandled on every level, and then we didn't
So
deliver
they
in
took
the moment.
offense to that we made public that thing, and they'll probably do it again. And then I think that's why the Ryan Stout, they
So we
wouldn't
came
book
back
us.
and wanted to do it with Ryan Stout. They're like,
so
no.
your name was mud already
Yeah.
in St.
And I'm
Louis
also like,
with
get
them.
over it. Get over it.
Yeah, for real.
It's
For real.
fine. Helium's there now, and there are other rooms there that we can play. But
Well, I've done Blueberry Hill.
Blueberry Hill is
Blueberry
great.
Hill's
I've done it twice. I love that room down there. Where
The Ready
Charberry
Room.
used to play.
Yeah.
The
Ready Room.
The
Love
Ready
that
Room
place.
is also great in St. Louis. The Pageant is great in St. Louis. We've done
it's
that.
all good. We're fine. I mean, but it was that story was,
And that it
just-
happened in our hometown. That we had thought we had moved away and achieved enough, to come home and just take a victory lap around our old club. Nope.
And it was just. I
They're
mean,
like-
but that's the beauty of comedy. It constantly slaps you in the face.
It really does.
And it doesn't matter
humbles
what-
you.
Humbles you
all
every
It doesn't
day.
matter what
It's
you've
like
done.
being a parent.
Yeah.
Humbles you
You're
every
right
day.
about that.
You think you have it under control. You think you got this.
No way. No way.
Speaking of being a parent, how about my baby daddy's party?
Well, that was it. That was it.
Oh, that was the party.
Well, that was the part. That
That was
was
the CD release party.
Oh, that was the release.
from the movie My Baby's Daddy. That was Dominique Wilkins' brother.
I'm gonna need those shirts back.
I'm gonna need
Yeah.
those.
Oh
So that's
my
it. That's all we got.
That's all
I'm
we
sure
got.
we'll have
You
tons of
have
others.
that's more than enough.
I'm
More
sure we
than
have tons
enough.
of others, but
Have you guys ever been in fights growing up, bullied, teased, or anything where one of you jumped in with the other? Were you taught that way? Because my dad was like, if your brother's fighting, you're fighting.
Yeah.
we were both bullied by together. I think they would separate us and bully us in high school. A couple juniors when we were freshmen, like find us individually. And
Well, what
stare.
was it they would go after you for?
They just were like.
Just they were those bullies.
They were the kind of bullies that just wanted to intimidate
Yeah.
and just push you around, like push and be like, you fucking think you're so funny and all this stuff. And just these older kids who just didn't like that we were big personalities when we came into the school. And so we were just that way. And we were like this sort of unit. So then when they ever saw us separated, it'd be like two dudes as you're coming up the stairwell waiting for you.
Right.
And then push you around, knock your shit down and be like, you better watch your back. You better look over your shoulder is what they would say. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Thanks a lot.
Thank
But then
you.
that, then that
Thank you, high
ended.
school.
I don't even remember that as
We
much.
had another friend who was on the basketball team who was bigger than them, and we told that guy, because we started doing like the introductions for the basketball team.
Who was the guy we told?
Daryl Hemingway.
Daryl Hemingway.
Which is a white guy with a black guy.
Yeah,
Great name. Daryl Hemingway.
Hemingway.
Big, white, lefty, slow.
Like slow, but
slow, like a flat top haircut. Like,
and he talked to them because he knew them, and he was like, "Stop fucking with the Sklar Brothers, or I'll mess you up." And then it stopped. But like
You
it-
guys were doing the announcing for bringing the team.
Yeah,
out,
we
like,
would
hype
introduce
up.
the whole. Yeah, turn
Yeah.
the light. And that was another kind of quickly embarrassing thing is that we were like, we fought the school. We're like, you got to turn the lights out so we can do a spotlight on the team and really get the energy up. And they're like, okay, but these are special fluorescent lights that take
36 minutes to power them
Yeah.
back on.
Exactly.
is it 36 minutes?
36 minutes. So like they'd shut them off and,
And
we
they
do the
couldn't
intros.
start the game.
You do this big hype and
Right,
then what?
and then
they
there'd be
just-
like 14 minutes of like,
Everybody's getting tight and shit. Trying to do layup drills. Can't see a goddamn.
some guy twists his ankle in the darkness to try and pass the ball. I mean,
Stepped on the ball.
It was us. It was our
the
humor.
last little story. We'll do one more because I think we have time for one tiny
Yeah.
one. So, because the high school thing reminded me of this. So we wrote for the newspaper in the high school. Oh my Jay fucked this up so badly. This was
So I was the sports editor of the newspaper, all right? And I wrote, we were in the senior year, we were in too many clubs.
we were just in too much.
Like you
shit.
shouldn't be in 11 things and then also be the sports editor.
Yeah.
All right? That you should just be the sports editor of the newspaper.
That's it. That should identify you.
So I'm the sports editor and I'm behind on this story. I'm writing about
We have one kid who was a great cross country runner. So his sister was in our year.
Carrie Unterreiner.
Unterreiner sounds like
if you need
Like
to
a
drink cranberry juice because you got an Unterreiner disease.
or like Unterreiner is like the birth control thing that gets like inserted in your vagina. Gets pulled out after 6 years. Just releases a little thing inside of it. Yeah. You got to get that Unterreiner out. I know I've been having urinary tract infections.
All right, so Carrie Unterreiner, our age.
Wait, say it again. Carrie Unterreiner.
And her brother Ryan Unterreiner.
So he was like
A lot of Ryans,
the
okay.
best cross country runner our team.
and
our
he was a
school.
freshman.
What was it? He's Dupree. Wasn't that the guy that was a good cross country runner? That guy Dupree or whatever.
Prefontaine.
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 Which
But
we
this
always
is after Prefontaine, so I would
It was
call it
post-Fontaine.
It was post Prefontaine the runner, but pre Prefontaine the movie.
So I was like, just straight up Fontaine. All right. So it's in that middle zone. It's my favorite sound in the world. This guy laughing. That's my favorite thing in the world.
God!
I could live off your laughter.
Oh my God!
If I said I have an electric car, it only works on Ryan Sickler's laugh.
Powered by that.
I got all the way up to Santa Barbara on one joke. On an Unterreiner reference.
So Ryan Unterreiner is the thing, and I am charged with writing a feature article about the guy.
In the school newspaper.
And I'm
That everyone read, by the way. People like
did
it was
read
at a
this-
time where people read the newspaper.
and I was so late in getting it done because of all my other activities that I was like, I promised the editor, I was like, look, you don't need to fact check it because
I'll get it done. I'll do all the fact checking ahead of time.
And so I made a deal that I would turn it in at night as they were like going to run it to press that night. And then like, I think they pressed it overnight. Like it was some crazy thing that the school just did. They set it to press and then overnight. And then the next morning they just collated it. That was it. So it was printed at night. And so I turn it in super, super, super late, but I turn it in and I feel good about it. I think it's a great article. It comes out the next day and I get called to the newspaper. The woman who was the advisor, Mrs. Groth. She calls me to her room and she's like, "Have you read this?" And I was like, "Read it. I wrote it."
Thank
She
you.
opens it up and she points to him and she's like, "What'd you just call Ryan Unterreiner in that sentence?" And I said, "Ryan Unterreiner runs with the grace of a gelding."
Now, do you know what a gelding is?
I don't.
Well,
Is that a fish?
apparently Jay didn't know what a gelding is.
either.
A gelding.
Should I find
You want to look it up?
All
I
right,
mean,
just-
I can tell you what a gelding is.
A gelding.
It sounded like a fast horse.
Okay, hold on.
A gelding.
A castrated animal, especially a male horse.
He ran like a horse
Especially-
without
Especially a male horse.
He ran like a horse without a dick.
You would think a horse's dick's
So,
big.
so
in your defense,
so
it would
she
be a quicker horse.
So she stares at me. She stares at me, and she's looking at it. And I'm like, "Would that make him fast?"
Did you know what it was at the time?
I did not know what it was.
She explained
She
it.
explained it to me. And she said, "You said that he was a horse without genitalia," and I was like, "Wouldn't that make him faster?" And she said, Mrs. Groth was like, "You have to call his family, his parents."
Oh,
and
my.
So I had to apologize to his parents. It was the most. That was.
How were they? Were they all right?
They were not as nice about it as I thought they would be. Like I came to them like I screwed up, and they're like, "Don't you proofread this? Doesn't people do it?" And I was like, "I have all these other activities." They're like, "We don't
Give
care."
a shit. Don't give a shit that you're on the radio.
And so I had to write an entire other article in the next edition,
Explaining
like
about the fuck up.
a corrections paragraph, which I thought made it worse because I was like, last month in the article that I did on so-and-so, I called him and he is not a horse with no genitalia. Like I explained it for people who probably
I was going to say
breezed over.
most people in high school probably had no
didn't know.
idea.
Yeah,
what
they
the
would have been
fucking
like, wow,
gelding
he's
was.
fast.
But
I
they
just learned something new here.
made me apologize.
Oh man, that's fucking great.
That's a good one to end it
That
on.
is a great one to end on. You guys, I love you so much. Thank you for being here. Of
course.
Please, one more time, promote everything you'd like. Please.
Listen to our podcast. If you like this, you'll definitely love our podcast, Dumb People Town with Daniel Van Kirk. Go check that out. Subscribe to it. If you're a sports fan, you will love You from the Cheap Seats. Great guests. You've done it.
I have. I
Great
love
guest.
all your
We
shows.
had you on right before the home run derby.
That's
Yes,
right.
we talked about that. That was awesome.
Great guest. Great. Like, this is what's going on in the week of sports, and it's always funny and it's always really cool. And then just go to supersklars.com, go to our our tour dates and see if we're playing near you. We'd love to
Please come out. We'd
Come
love
up
to-
and tell us that you heard us here. I always love that because
Oh,
when
I
people
do
come up
too.
and
Yeah,
be
when
like,
people are like, I saw you on the Honeydew, or I listened to you on the Honeydew, and like
It makes me
it
feel
makes us
good.
feel so good.
Those dates you wanted to promote again.
yeah, one more time. If this comes out in September. September 9th, we're doing a live Dumb People Town at Largo. Should have big guests and a big musical guest. And then the 27th will be in
Tinley Park Convention Center in
Chicago. 28th, Ann Arbor. Blake Griffin might come on and do some guest sets
At the
on
Ann
that
Arbor
show.
Comedy Showcase.
Yeah, and then
so
a bunch more. Like we're booked out all the way through. Like
We're doing Boston for the first time ever.
Ever?
Last Boston.
Wow.
Laugh Boston. We're doing
Yeah.
that on the end.
That's
we
a
might
great
do
club.
DC the night before that. On the night before we do that, and that's October 10th, 11th, 12th.
Denver at the end of October, and then Austin in
November. Yeah, good stuff.
Well, you boys have come a long way from your rap days. So I appreciate you sitting in here.
Thank you.
As always, I am RyanSickler.com. Ryan Sickler on all social media. Talk to y'all next week.